You're listening to the Iron and Grace podcast, so pick up your sword and join the good fight.
All right. Romans 12, 1 and 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. By the testing, you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. What's up, guys?
What is up?
Hello.
This is
There you go.
this is Kyle.
TJ.
And Drew.
Welcome to Iron and Grace.
We got TJ back on the episode.
Hello.
We're happy to have you again.
I promise I'll talk a little bit more
We're
this
going to
time.
make him talk today because we're going to talk about bro science stuff, fitness and lifting weights, and why that's so important in everybody's life. Not just guys that fight and train and want to look jacked, but for everybody.
I think for me, I want to start out talking about, what's the purpose behind why we train, like from a fitness standpoint, because that was one thing, as Kyle has joked many times about my bodybuilding path. I think that opens it up well to kind of talk about kind of the purpose of why we train. So if anybody's watched the other episode, I'm a cancer survivor. And when I stopped training, or when I got done with my treatment, I was so weak. I couldn't. TJ was around me then. I was skinny, weak, and I was always an athlete growing up to some extent. But after that, it was hard, and I was like, I got to get in the gym. So that was when I started working out. But kind of maybe if we all walk through like why we train just a little bit.
Heck yeah.
But you want me to start and kind of finish where I was going with that?
Go for me.
But this is kind of funny. TJ's my brother-in-law. Married his sister. We talked about it last time. People always think the other way. But when I finished my chemo treatment, I was thinking, like, with Deanna's health concerns, what if something happens and I can't pick her up? That was like my biggest fear. Was like, if she passes out or something, what if I'm unable and helpless to like get her moved or pick her up or whatever care I need to offer at that moment? I might be able to not do that, and that was terrifying to me. So that was like what spurred me to get into the gym and train more and get stronger. Like, I remember I had a goal of like being really strong at deadlift because, like, I guess that was in my brain, like my simple brain, that was like, and lifting someone up, that was like the exercise I needed to get strong in.
Deadlift is one of those lifts that, it builds everything. So
yeah. TJ, you're up.
When did you start? Like, how old were you at that point?
So I weight trained a little bit in high school, but I was never really a heavy weight trainer. I surfed all growing up, so I was active. I played soccer, and I was always athletic, but I never really got in, I would say, in the gym consistently weight training till after I got sick, which I was 20 going on 21 at that point. Yeah. TJ remembers. I'll have to try to put pictures up, but I probably went into my chemo maybe 160, 170. And when I finished, I was 138, I think was the smallest I got, which now I'm 180 pounds. I just lost weight, but I was 210. So when I finished building all that weight, I was pretty consistent weight of 170 to 190 pretty regularly. Yeah. So, but 31 now, so it's been almost a little over 10 years. Right. So, yeah, it was a grind though. For all the people that don't train and like haven't trained, don't be embarrassed to like get in the gym and get after it, because like that was one thing I learned. Like, you got to start. Don't be ashamed or
and accept that it's gonna take forever.
Yeah, it is gonna take forever, and it's you gradually grow. You'll have a lot of growth right in the beginning, and let that motivate you, because you will stall. You'll have to change things up. You'll have to go through those times of lulls and things like that, but over time, you'll look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come after all that. But what about you, TJ? I don't know.
Yeah, when TJ started at the gym, like, he comes in and he takes his shirt off, and I'm like, oh, damn. TJ's jacked.
That's a big little dude.
That's a big little dude.
I started, I guess you could say I started 7th grade. And that was because I was like the scrawny kid in 6th grade, like played video games for 12 hours a day. I had the Justin Bieber hair. So like, just did like push-ups, pull-ups, 5-minute ab workouts type deal. And then I didn't really work out again because 7th and 8th grade, everyone was like, oh, like TJ got bigger. What the heck? So I stopped. And then when Drew started, I started going to the gym with him in the summers. And I kind of blew up. And I think it's mainly like my genetics and my build because I am shorter. It's just easier for me to either put on muscle or to look bulky, I guess.
No fair at all.
So I would mainly just work out in the summers, and I would work out here and there, school wise, because I played baseball growing up. And then I stopped for a while, and then after I graduated high school, back in 2020, is when I started going to the gym consistently. For about a year and a half, and then life got in the way, so I stopped. But I kept a good amount of my muscle, and then it was just constant back and forth. Like I would stop then go, stop then go. And then I would say the last year and a half,
You've been training pretty hard. Yeah, I would
very
say so.
very consistent. And I've went back and forth a little bit of training jiu-jitsu more and then the gym less and vice versa. But I would say I've been 150, 155 my whole life, and I'm finally 175 consistent. I was never able to break that 155, 160 mark. And it wasn't even that I was eating so much. It was my consistency going to the gym and just eating when I was hungry, truly. And I just finally hit that 175. And now I'm trying to break that 175 to get to 180. But yeah, what about you, Kyle?
I weight trained a little bit when I was in high school, middle school, high school, kind of. We had a weight bench in the basement, and I think we got up to 115 on the bench press and thought that was pretty good. But I've always been like you, the scrawny guy. I grew up doing construction, so carrying cinder blocks and humping shingles and carrying boards and all that kind of stuff was just, it's always been life. I've always been in the blue collar world, so I kind of thought that equated to being strong. And turns out that's not actually true. And probably around the COVID time frame was when I kind of, with all the space of being prepared for whatever, you name it, end times, government takeover, whatever, zombie apocalypse, all the conversations about, are you really as prepared as you think you are? And, are you prepared financially, and are you prepared with the food, and are you prepared physically, and all these things? And I'm like, out of all these things that I think I'm so capable of, this one, if I'm really honest with myself, I'm probably not as capable as I need to be. And at that point, I was probably, I don't know, 130 pounds, but skinny fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always had relatively strong hands and arms just from working with them forever, but had developed a little bit of the dad bod and just wasn't real happy with myself. So I started, when I started with a body weight program because I didn't have any weights. I've got kids and a wife and business and all things. So I really didn't, I was one of those guys that didn't have time to go to the gym, quote unquote. So I started with a body weight program, the Mountain Tough. I don't know if either of you guys have heard of it.
I think I remember,
but it was a great program of push-ups and pull-ups, and I was using my lift for pull-ups. I didn't even have pull-up bars, so I put the lift all the way up and used the lift for pull-ups. Lots of running, which I really, really dislike running.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, and then I bought a cheap, crappy barbell off a marketplace and got, what was it, the Athlean X program, and followed that for a little while. I'm super ADD, if you guys haven't noticed yet. So I'll follow a program for a little while, and then I kind of get bored, and I'll switch it up, and I get bored, which makes it difficult to be consistent. But I got in better shape as far as I was lean, and then I started training jiu-jitsu. But putting on muscle was always really hard. And the way I was lifting was, I didn't know what the heck I was doing at all. Just whatever program I could find on my phone was what I was following. I didn't have any kind of trainer. I had guys at the gym that would give me advice when I would ask, but generally I was doing it all on my own. And in the last, I guess, 3 years, I've gotten a lot more serious about, my lifting and getting strong and trying to build muscle.
Yeah.
I'm 5 inches taller than TJ, and I'm just finally 170 pounds, and it's taken a lot of effort to put on that 35 or so pounds over the last 5 years. And then what's it been? Maybe 6 months since you started helping me with my
maybe not
programming?
even 6 months.
And man, that's been huge. Just the program that you set up for me has made all of my numbers go way up, and I've actually been able to like put on some genuine size for the first time. Like I'm still not a big guy, but me compared to me 5 years ago when a small t-shirt was baggy, it's made a difference.
I think too, like you say that, but like you probably are past, like most people that would meet you now, like especially, depending if you had a hoodie or whatever, it might not, but like they're probably going to look at you as a bigger guy.
Well,
it's just hard probably to say for you.
I guess in the pool of men that we hang around, I still definitely don't qualify as a big guy. But regardless, like in day-to-day life, being strong is so important, especially like you guys in the law enforcement world where you actually have to move bodies. Me in the blue collar world and the automotive world where sometimes I'm moving bodies, they're just car bodies, not human bodies. But it matters. Yeah, dude. I'm running the power hammer this week, shaping the skins for those Bentley doors, and that's all like shoulders and traps, and it's a lot of work. And the stronger you are, the easier it is to do that work, especially for long periods of time.
And you're a father and have responsibilities to all your children and wife to, protect them in some capacity. And I think your strength and your physicality, I mean, it matters in combat. It matters in your ability to, I think a lot of people overlook the benefits of training. And like when you think about someone's fitness level in general, like where their fitness level is, I don't think people truly understand that have never weight trained or aren't athletes, like their fitness level is so low. And it doesn't just transfer over into like, okay, somebody attacks me at the grocery store and I got to protect my family, but it transfers over into how much time they can spend with their kids, the type of things they can do with their kids.
Well, and how many bags of groceries you can carry at a time from the car to the house.
That's a real example, though.
Real.
It's real. And your quality of life, if you can just bring your fitness level up as a man, I mean, as any human, your quality of life is going to go way up. Like, it might just be, I mean, as you age, you might be able to continue to play sports with your kids. You may be able to wrestle with your kids. I mean, we train jiu-jitsu, so hopefully we'll be able to train jiu-jitsu till we die. That would be my goal. I think that'd be probably y'all's goal too. But I don't ever want to be the parent that like can't, like if my kid's playing soccer or sports, that can't get out there and get after it with them. I won't ever want to be that person. And people have injuries, right, that limits them, and that's a different story. But I think everybody should focus on whatever that looks like. We're men, so we prioritize strength and, getting bigger and stuff like that. But whatever that fitness looks like, for that person, like you said, when you started out, you didn't weight train because you didn't have the opportunity to weight train.
At least that's the story I would have told myself for anybody that asked.
That's true.
It just wasn't true.
Yeah. You can always do push-ups. You can always do pull-ups, things like that. That's a good starting.
It doesn't take as much as you think it takes.
No.
But I want to talk about like each of our programming a little bit too, and then we'll weave in where Drew and I tend to tangent, so we'll weave our tangents in on how and why this applies to everything as we go. Like TJ, what kind of program when you're lifting consistently? What's the program that you run look like?
So I do a upper lower split, which basically means I train all upper body one day and all lower body the next. So like my upper will consist of 2 chest workouts, 2 back, and then 1 bicep, 1 tricep. And because of jiu-jitsu, I'll throw in like grip strength. And then for legs, so I only train legs once a week right now because I'm trying to focus on jiu-jitsu. So I'll do 1 quad dominant and then 1 hamstring dominant, and it just flips on the week. The main thing that I really try and focus on other than being consistent is tracking my weight and my reps because of progressive overload, and I'm sure that we'll get into that later. But I would say that's one of the most important things. And again, there's diet in there too. We'll get into that as well, I'm sure. but just constantly tracking, making sure that you're either going up in weight or going up in reps. And when you notice a plateau, instead of getting discouraged, you can always switch it up. And like another thing is everyone's different. So like let's say chest flies really build my chest, where Kyle's like, man, I don't even feel it, but he bench works for him. So that's kind of what I do. I try and listen to my body instead of listening to a bunch of different videos. Like that can help getting tips and tricks and all that. But I would say listen to your body, what you feel, and just focus on form, as corny as that is, or corny as that sounds. So that's what I try and focus on.
What's your favorite lift?
Like body part or like lift overall?
Lift overall.
It used to be deadlift, and then I hurt my hand. So yeah, as weird as that sounds, but I would probably say, I'd say squat right now. I'm really digging squatting.
I hate squats. It's one of those like have tos. You have to do it. It's so important. But I hate squats.
Yeah, I really enjoy a good squat too. Yeah, honestly, I do.
I like low rep squats.
Yeah.
Which is
grinders.
just total cop out. Like put heavy weight on it, push it 2 or 3 times, rack it, walk away.
I had this time, I don't know where I was training and I was like kind of 2 weeks I was going to do something a little different. And I did 20 rep squats. I think of all exercises, doing high reps and like keeping the weight relatively high, like not to a point where you're like, really light, is got to be one of the, it sucks. It's hard. And it pushes you mentally in a different way that I think you just, I can't, the pump in your quads and your glutes, like during that was, and it's not during it's like when you put the weight down and take a step back, you really feel the impact.
When you get out of the truck, when you get home. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I think it's the time that your legs are under the load is what gets it the most. Because when whoever I was following that did it, like you don't put the weight down. So like if you do 12, your rest point is you stand there with the weight, catch your breath, get back your senses back, and then you keep going. So you might do 12, then 2, then 3, then 1, but you get to 20, and it is brutal. It's really brutal.
How are you for your high reps? How are you breathing? What's your breathing method? I mean, obviously you've got to breathe. You don't have to breathe so much. You're doing 3 reps. You can kind of hold your breath and brace with it.
I would say for high reps, focus on make sure you're breathing throughout the like.
Do you cadence it with your lift? Like I'm usually
I would say so.
In on the down, out like a push out on the up.
I don't really. It's not something I've really thought about that much, honestly. I mean, I think it matters as far like if you were powerlifting, it would really matter. I think the more important thing when it comes to like what you're talking about there is that you're breathing in general. I think breathing in on the downward and then breathing out, as you're exerting, I think makes sense. But when I was personal training people, the biggest, like, it didn't matter, like, the subtleties of that. What mattered is people hold their breath, which, in the powerlifting world, there's a place for that.
Yeah.
But when you're doing
1, 2, maybe
when
3
you're
reps,
pushing
you
but when you need the oxygen, you need the breath, you need to expel the waste that you're producing when you're, under load like that. And it's important to breathe. And I can't tell you how many people, don't breathe. Like they'll do a set of 8 and they'll come up off the bench like about to
and then you
pass out.
See stars. Like, oh crap, what's gonna happen?
And one thing this is something I learned from some of the guys I used to listen to back in the day is a lot of times when people get nauseous, because everybody that's weight trained knows that when you get into that high rep range and keep your pace up, the nausea and vomiting is in your future. Yeah. And I think anybody that's trained hard at high reps, like you know that. And I will say, if you focus on making sure you're breathing throughout the exercises and getting good quality breaths back, like during your rest periods, it does keep that from happening. I think a lot of that, it has to do with your breathing when you're doing that type of workout, and you have to focus on it or else you're gonna be hurling.
Yeah. I always think of it like, when I'm helping coaching Muay Thai, like you make when you throw a punch or a kick, you make a sound.
Yeah.
And I was messing with the kids the other day because they were hitting the bag here with me at the shop. And I'm like, you got to make a sound when you hit it. Like when you throw that elbow, and they're looking at me like I'm a crazy person. I said, I swear you hit it. You make the sound. If you don't make the sound, you got to make it right. You don't make it right. You don't sound like a TIE fighter when you make it. It doesn't work as good.
It's not as powerful. But I do think I think breathing matters. I think from a simple standpoint, making sure that you're breathing in some capacity, what that looks like. I mean, that more, I guess, a higher level type thing to think about. But yeah, I mean, what programming wise, for me, when I started out, I was doing my own. This is kind of funny, but it has to do with my programming. When I started after I did my chemo, I didn't have any weight training experience, so I was like at the mercy of what I seen online.
Yeah,
and I remember
how I was too.
Yeah, I was always an overkill person.
Yeah, same.
And I went and I worked out, and I remember just doing like tricep extensions. Like I started, I was like, I'm gonna do arms first because like I don't want to overload. I'm just gonna do an arm workout, get back into it. And my triceps the next day, I'm sure it had a side effect of my chemo and stuff, but I couldn't even move my arms. Like I couldn't put a shirt on. I had to help put a shirt on. So like your programming matters, especially in the beginning. But like TJ said, I think over the years I've trained a lot of different ways. I got on with a pretty good personal trainer, Vinny, when I first started, and he had kind of an interesting programming method that I know worked well. I don't really train like that anymore, but it works. And that's another thing when it comes to programming is adherence is your number one. Like if you're not adhering to some type of structure or program, like you're never going to make it. And that I think people don't understand. You can't do a program for 3 months and then give it up and then do a different program the next 3 months. You've got to have some way.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Hey, but you're not alone. You're not alone because there's no, like TJ said, if you're not paying attention to your weight and your reps, and if your program's too complicated to keep track of your weight and reps, you don't have an ability to really know that you're getting stronger. You don't have an ability to know that you're improving. Yeah. And that's what happens. You have a lot of these complicated programs. Do they work? That's the thing. A lot of different programs work. Is there a perfect one? I don't know. But you can have 10 programs that if you followed the way they're supposed to, you'd have very similar results. But the problem is nobody follows them for the longevity of the program, and I think that's the most important thing is that you adhere to whatever. I mean, make sure you get it from someone that has some type of experience and knowledge. But if you don't adhere to the program and you do a month and a half and you get bored or it's too complicated to do on an actual normal schedule for someone, then you're never going to make it, But I think, like TJ said, like doing some type of rep goal system, which is kind of like what we did with your program, is keeping your exercises fairly consistent. Because if you're switching exercises like every week or every 2 weeks, it's very hard to keep track of whether you're getting stronger or not. So and there's going to be your core exercises, like bench, deadlift, and squat. I mean, deadlift's a weird one because it's a important exercise strength wise, and I think it builds a certain toughness to deadlifts. But I think rows for back is probably a better programmable whatever row you choose to do. I think is probably more. I don't want to say more important than a deadlift, but more productive at growing your back.
And if
strength.
we actually had more than 12 listeners, you'd piss off a lot of people off by saying that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Deadlift's a really good exercise, and you can get a really big back from deadlifting. But I don't think you can have a program that if you're trying to get bigger and stronger, I think the row holds there's a lot of guys that don't deadlift and they have really strong backs and it's from rowing. Yeah. And I don't know many guys or have seen many guys that squat, bench, and row heavy that can't walk up to a barbell and rip a pretty heavy deadlift.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, I mean, so for me, deadlift can be high risk too. Less than squats, I think, but I think it matters in the long time.
Deadlift is just such an applicable lift.
It is.
Like to life.
Yeah.
Like, how often are you picking something up off the ground?
Every day.
Yeah, every day. Like it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like, here, like there's heavy things all the time lifting, bending over and picking heavy things up all the time. And it's a deadlift with an object all the time. I think that's probably one of it's high risk, but I think it's also high reward as far as like being applicable.
Don't look at me to help pronounce words.
Yeah,
Don't look at me either.
Wrong room for that. Anyways, I think that one has the most. One of the ones that has the most use, like in everyday life. Like even if that's not part of your main programming, everybody should deadlift from time to time because like that's just life.
And I don't want to say high risk because high risk is the word I'm using, but it's not high risk in the sense.
Speaking of deadlift, a buddy of mine he posted a picture of trap bar with some weights on it. Said new PR today. But he didn't say what the weight was, so I messaged him. I'm like, bro, how much? He said 335.
It's a good number.
That's not bad. Heck
But
yeah.
I think that is a perfect segue, though. Like, I don't want to say that deadlift's high risk because if you're doing it correctly, none of the exercises done correctly are high risk. But I think from a personal trainer standpoint, we don't fit in. I mean, all of us are doing them correctly when we're training because we've been training a while.
Most of the time.
But I think there's a
That being said, have you ever hurt your back deadlifting?
I haven't.
I have. Have you?
No.
Oh, I have. Okay, I'm the only one here that has. But yeah, I totally have.
Yeah. Anytime you're under a really heavy load, there's an element of risk, right? I think deadlifts. I think squat's probably more of a high risk exercise, like in the totality, because you can't really bail the weight as easy as a deadlift. You just let go.
Yeah.
But you don't see many people incorrectly squatting as much as you see incorrectly deadlifting. I think people just try to rip really heavy deadlifts.
Yeah, well, because you can. Like
You can.
You can attempt to do a bad deadlift. It's hard to do it's not hard to do a bad squat, but if you're too far forward with the weight on your squat, you're gonna fall on your face.
Yeah.
If you're too far back, you're gonna fall on your ass. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. You know, if your weight's not centered over your feet, you're not gonna be able to move as much weight. Period. So I think
you can kind of force the deadlift.
Yeah, right.
A little more than
you can round your back and you can, I sent you guys that video of me doing the deadlift the other day and I watched it. I'm like, because I haven't been deadlifting as much lately.
Yeah.
I'm doing the RDLs. But for some reason I got a wild hair and was like,
I'm going to rip this.
I want to deadlift some weight tonight.
And you did.
Even though my ankle's jacked up.
But I think that speaks to there is a time and place. I think there's a toughness that goes along with those big exercises like the squat and deadlift that you can't really replace that with anything else. Like it's from a personal training standpoint, like when you're talking about like volume and how much training per body part, high, low, back, chest, it's a hard one to program because of how much involvement it has with your whole body. You know, if I'm programming how much volume are they going to be doing on like an upper day, like a push day, like a chest day, like it's very easy for a bench press uses your triceps and your arms and your shoulders, but it's easy to program because it's primarily a chest exercise. The deadlift's kind of like, it's a hard one to program because it does touch everything, and it's like it doesn't directly target your back in the same way that a row does, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Either you guys know who Mark Ripito is?
Yes.
Yeah, you know Mark Ripito. His starting strength is his thing, and I like him. He's like the crustiest, grumpiest old dude, which is probably why I like him so much. But squat, bench, deadlift are like
his core.
That's his core, and deadlift is super important to him. I followed his program for a little while, for probably about 3 months.
Yeah, there you go. You're not alone though.
And he always programmed the deadlift at the end of the workout. Yes. I mean, it was you were doing. Trying to remember. You would squat and either bench or overhead press. I think this was every other day, and deadlift. You would do those 3 lifts.
Yeah.
Legs, a chest, and back. Every time you lifted, and I did that for a while. And his progressive overload is you add 5 pounds. Which when you're first starting, like for that
you
first
can do that
several months that you're lifting, every time you lift, you can put 5 more pounds on. And then his programming changes, and it does make sense. But that's what I found with the deadlift. It's like wherever it goes in the program, if it's either the first thing and that's your primary lift and everything else is going to kind of be wasted after that, or it's your final lift because, again, you're just picking it from the ground up to your waist. So if you don't have as much gas in the tank, you just don't lift as heavy a weight, and it's still useful.
I mean, Mark Ripito is like if my fitness knowledge is like down here, he's a pretty high level guy.
Yeah, and mine's like dig a hole and it's way down the bottom of that. That's why I come to you guys.
But there's another thing, like you've succeeded. You have a pretty high fitness, like I sent you that one other day talking about like high level operators, like what their standard is in the different exercises, and you're at that point with many of those exercises. So even you don't have to have a high level of education to be at a high level of fitness. You have to have some knowledge and learn and be willing to put in the work, but you can get there. But with like the deadlift programming, like when you think about programming it last, it makes a lot of sense because, okay, where do we fit it in volume wise is a different story. But if we put it last, now we're going to be lowering the weight that we're deadlifting. So we've increased, if someone's doing it moderately incorrect or they're, not as cleanly doing it, we're probably not as heavy as we would be. So there's an element of safety there. And then you're also not trashing your workout because you deadlift stupid heavy. Because he's not going to do that. But I know from personal training people, if you program deadlift first, you'd get this guy, he would go in the gym and he would try to put as much weight on that bar for the reps that he was set to do, and he would overdo his deadlift, and then he'd be trashed.
Dude, I deadlifted Thursday. It's Saturday, and I'm just finally, like, feeling normal again. And that was pretty much all I did Thursday night. Like, I worked up to what I sent you guys and did 2 sets overhead press after that, and that was it. Like, that was all I did. And I could, like I said, I still feel it. It's been, that was
it's a gnarly exercise. I think that's why it works so well, because it does use a lot of your body. It uses, everyone thinks of it as a back exercise, but it's a primarily I would say more so a glute and hamstring, depending on your form.
Anything in your hands that's north of 300 pounds and hold it, like it's
gonna be hard.
It's everything.
yeah. But
TJ, where deadlifts in your? Well, you said you're not deadlifting now because your hands jacked up.
Your hands
Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
What were you deadlifting before your hand hurt?
I was doing 405 for about 7 to 8.
Telling you, he's crazy strong, man.
I'm sorry.
But I want to. That's another thing I want to hit is
It's because you're short. You don't have to pull it as far.
That's right. You're not wrong at all.
when I was training, I was thankful enough to have TJ to come train with me, and at that point, I had a fair amount of knowledge, so I was able to help TJ program to some degree. Not saying I knew everything, but I was able to help. I think TJ was able to start training somewhat correctly at a set age. If you're under 18, you have in my opinion, a genetic advantage because of the things that are happening in your body.
Dude,
For sure.
Oh my gosh.
And
I wish at 14 years old, someone would have been like, hey, boy, this barbell and these
lift
weights
it.
are yours. You live with these now.
Yeah.
'Cause, man, the amount of growth that happens between like 14 and 25.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And there's so much to, like, you're going to get way stronger, way faster than I will at 30. You have hormones going. And I think there's a lot of like motor skills that you're able to develop at that age that you have an advantage to someone that's older. Like, I think anybody that has trained or done a sport that's learned it through their like adolescent years, you just don't forget it. Yeah. Like, you just don't forget it.
And there's something to, like, because weight training, there's a level of suffering there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's delayed gratification. Like, you get those days where you hit those PRs, and that's great. But there's a whole bunch of days in between that where it's just going in and grinding and suffering. And if you can start to learn that, at 14, 15 years old, I think you get the same thing with sports.
Yeah.
But not everybody is going to play football. Not everybody's going to play baseball or whatever. But everybody can get under some weights. Not everybody's going to push the same amount. But you can learn that discipline. You can start to build your body to be healthier and stronger. And it's motivating, when you do start to see a little bit of muscle tone, or when you do put that extra 5 pounds on the bar. I set a goal. I had a goal when you first set programming up for me. I told you, I'm like, man, I would love to be able to bench 250.
Yeah.
And I'm a total, like, when it comes, I'm a meathead. I like bench, I like squat, I like deadlift. Like, those are the numbers.
Which is okay.
Those are the numbers that I care about. Whatever.
But
But
you should.
At that point, I don't remember what my max was at that point, but it wasn't 250. And what was it, a month or so ago? I'm like, I'm going to try it because I've been doing reps at 225, and I put 250 on the bar and just blew it off my chest like it was nothing.
Yep.
And then I went to 260, and I was like, holy crap. Like, this
really
is
strong.
amazing. And I texted you, I'm like, I love you, man. Thank you. But it was, for months and months and months and months, it was like, that was just unattainable. Couldn't do it. And then you get it, and it's like, okay.
Now it's here.
This is what we suffer for a little bit. And now it's like, okay, well, now I want 3 wheels.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get there, but.
You very well could. That's a big bench, though.
That's a big bench.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll ever get there. But, that's part of the goal, being unattainable is what makes it exciting.
The only thing that, this is kind of funny, but the only thing that, and I don't mean this in like a negative way, but the only thing that'll keep you from getting there, in my opinion, is your age.
Yeah.
Not your age now, but so a lot of people don't understand. Like, if you start training later in life, like, you're not going to be as strong as TJ because like he's going to have a longer window of age to continually improve. Whereas you, like, there's going to be a point where you're not going to be able to continually improve,
Right.
age wise. Right. You're not there yet, but you will start to get there. I think usually it's like in that 30 to 40 range is like I think they talk about as your max athletic ability. Most people, if they don't get injured. But
I think you can maybe stretch that into your mid 40s.
You can.
I see some guys that are in their mid 40s that are still getting stronger, but definitely when you start matters.
Yeah.
Like if you don't start until your mid 40s, I was having this conversation with Walter. Well, geez, I guess it's been several months ago now, and his life's even busier than mine. He's got 7 kids and he's running 2 businesses and he's got a lot going on. But talking to him about getting into more weight training and doing more jiu-jitsu, these are things that he sprinkles in when he can. But I'm like, I think he just turned 42. And I'm like, dude, now's like there does come a time where if you haven't started yet, things are going to start to decline.
Yes.
And I mean, if you're 75 and you never weight trained and you start getting into the bar, like it's good for you. It's going to benefit you. But the longer you wait, the harder it is for you to start to improve. Like there comes a point where it's like, oh man, I'm falling apart. I need to stop myself from falling apart. And maybe like that condition that you're in is about as good as you're going to be. And you just don't decline as quickly from there. Whereas if you start a little bit younger, you can build up a little bit.
Yeah.
So when the decline starts, like you've got farther to fall,
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize how impactful like weight training is to not necessarily just weight training, but resistance training in any capacity is to your bone density. When you get older, your bone density goes down a lot. And I'm probably going to say a lot of things on this podcast that then somebody's going to be like, yeah, that wasn't right. But
disclaimer, we are not scientists or certified personal trainers. This is all bro science. But we're the bros, so
we're definitely the bros. We qualify for that. But
what has worked for us?
Yeah, your bone density, the amount of decrease in like your bone density will be less if you are able to consistently resistance train, and they know that. They've proven that. So whether you're like us or you're like you said, like in your 50s, like it's going to benefit you. How you do it is going to be different because if you're 70, you don't need to be ripping deadlifts. Some people do. I've seen guys do it, but there's ways to go about it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, be smart, be careful.
Yeah.
And just to stem off like the whole just getting in there and start.
I'm proud that you jumped in there.
Oh, thank you.
Do that more often.
I felt like
I'm trying.
Losing in there for a second.
No, I was trying to find the moment to jump in.
We were overbearing.
Just jump in. Yeah.
The whole starting thing, like for some reason, I don't know if it's the internet or what it is. It doesn't have to look like David Goggins. Like you don't gotta wake up.
Probably better if it doesn't.
Yeah,
actually.
like you don't gotta wake up at 4:30. You don't gotta go from 4:30 to running 10 miles and then 10 miles to the gym. One thing that I try and preach is progress, not perfection. Like you don't gotta wake up at 6 a.m. I'm not a morning person at all. I know that I work nights, but that's irrelevant. I'm not a morning person.
I was gonna say 6 isn't that early.
So like. Even when I wasn't working nights, let's say at my old job, I would wake up at like 7 just because I got to get to work. And I'd be dead, right? Most people are trying to get from work straight to the gym. It's okay if you're a little delayed. There's some times where I stare at my shoes and I'm like, bro, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And the perfect part would be looking at the shoes, putting them on, throwing them on, going. You don't have to do the whole David Goggins thing where everything's perfect, your meal prep and this, that, the third. Just get in there. And once you get in there, it'll slowly snowball. And that's coming from somebody with a terrible instant gratification thing. Like that is one of my very bad traits is I want instant feedback right away, right now.
Well, and you know what, to add to that, like in a major agreement with you, is, and we all follow the dudes that are, they're jacked out of their minds and they get up at 4:30 and they run their 10 miles and then they go to the gym and their meal prep is perfect and all their day is time slotted down to the T. The reality is, like, I've got 5 kids and a business and sometimes my routine, sometimes I'm up at 4:45 and I'm here by 5:30 and I get my lift in and I'm working in the shop by 7 a.m. I've had time to read my Bible. I've had time to do my prayers. I've had time to do all my things. I'm in the shop 7 a.m. I get my 8 hours in. I leave at 3:30. I get the kids ready for jiu-jitsu. We're at the gym by 5. We get home at a reasonable time. We get dinner eaten. We get kids to bed and everything works great. But that's a rarity.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, you know, if their routine doesn't go perfect, their whole day goes to shit. And the reality is, like, that's most days. Like, most days, my routine, quote unquote, doesn't go perfect because, like, my kids get a vote. You know, the project at the shop get a vote. Like, it's not as Instagram perfect in reality. But, like, I get under the weights when I can get under the weights.
Yeah.
You know, I try and lift 4 times a week. Lately, it's been 3 times a week, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But doing something, the more consistent you are, the better. Consistency will breed results, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, we're all adults with adult lives. And I don't know about you guys, I don't get paid to lift weights.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me better at what I do, it makes me better at home, but I don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
So, like, I have to fit that in where I can fit it in.
Yeah.
And it's as high of a priority as it is, and it is a priority. It's not the priority.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, that's exceptional advice that TJ just gave. Is like, I think it's the same. I won't go off on that tangent, but it's the same way with business and it's the same way with entrepreneurship. Like, there's this, like, while putting in the hours is good, there's like this discrepancy, I think, that people fall into of it, like, because they see the people that, like, are 100% are David Goggins mentality, that hustle culture. It's almost off-putting because it does make you, and that's not to say we don't work hard. It does make you feel a certain type of way because you're not
and the thing
going to
is,
perform at
if
that
you-
same level.
Like, okay, my alarm was set for 4:45. I was up till 11:30 the night before.
Yeah.
I didn't get out of bed till 5:30. Oh man, my whole day is shot. Now I'm not going to work out. I might as well not do any other things I planned on doing.
Yeah.
Forget the nutrition for the day. And you got to understand, like, hey, sometimes it's play it by ear. Like, get up as early as you can get up and with intentions and, hey, it didn't work out today. Okay, I'm going to get it in tomorrow.
And like TJ was explaining, like, adherence and consistency is the most important thing. So if you get 2 hours of sleep, you need to not wake up at 6 a.m. and go train. Like, sleep's one of the most important things. Yeah. TJ has built an exceptional amount of muscle and strength with terrible sleep, being the police. So it's doable, but sleep is very important. So, like, if you're making that choice of, like, okay, I had some stuff happen and I didn't get to bed till 3 a.m. and my workout's supposed to happen at 6, no, your workout doesn't need to happen at 6. Like, that's how people get hurt. And that when you get hurt, when you get burnt out, that's when your consistency is trash. And that's it. You're better off skipping that workout, getting extra sleep, and just getting back on the horse the next day. You know, and what did you get from that? You know, look at it. Okay, what happened? You know, okay, how can I reset now to get better sleep so that next time it doesn't happen again? But you don't need to be working out on 2 hours of sleep. Like, it's just not. Like, if you feel off, you need to rest. Like, that's your, body.
Yeah. And with all that being said, I'm a firm believer in life that everything kind of has to have balance. So you can't also use that as an excuse of, like, constantly, oh well, right?
Rest.
Yeah, I need to rest. The gym is one of those things that you do have to make time for. Like, you got to make time for it. And I'm not married. I don't have kids. So where Kyle can have more leniency, or I'm sorry, can't have more leniency. I can. That just made me forget where I was going with that.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. But yeah, it can't be used as an excuse. The gym is one of those things that you got to make time for, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's an essential.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, I think it's important for everybody to be strong. Like, my wife want to talk about not having time. That
Yeah,
woman
can imagine.
homeschools 5 kids.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't,
impressive.
and she trains jujitsu, you know, and she does all the cooking, and she takes care of me, and she does, you know, all the. She's amazing. She does everything, but what it's very hard for her to find time to do is lift. So, you know, and we've been lifting off and on, you know, pretty inconsistently for probably a year now with her, and I was listening to Sal DiStefano's podcast the other day, Mind Pump, which I really like those guys.
Yeah, they are good.
And they totally got me. They totally got me. They were talking about one of their workout programs for the women, and it's the Muscle Mommy 15 program. I'm like, bro, sold, buying it, buying it. And it's a great concept because it's 15 minutes a day. It's 2 lifts a day. Now it's every day, which is a lot, but it's only 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So she's been doing it. Sometimes it's when we get home from the gym. So it's 9:30 at night, but she gets her 15 minutes in, and she's doing, you know, what she can with the weights that we can take to the house. You know, and that was another thing for me was going to a gym is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I set up weights here at the shop.
And which is, I want a lot of people to understand that too, because there's 2 sides of the fence. Some people like the gym. I mean, you probably like the gym atmosphere too, but you just don't have the time to get there. But there's a lot of people have spare bedrooms. Like you can build a home gym and modify things, and you don't have to have like the perfect setup to have very productive workouts. That's like really, I think a lot of people don't understand that, and they like, okay, I'm at a hotel gym and there's not as much stuff. Like you have to modify your workout, but that doesn't mean you can't be consistent and have a productive workout. It has to be different. Don't get so stuck. Like a good example would be like a barbell row. Like you're doing heavy barbell rows on your program, and you go to a hotel gym and they don't have a barbell. Like you can do dumbbell rows in that and still have a productive workout, but don't get so caught up in the, you know, the perfectness of the perfect gym or things like that, because you can build a pretty productive home gym for not that much money.
Yeah.
Not during COVID, but now.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
you
right.
can.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So application. So the whole idea was to try and convince people why it's so important to be strong for, you know, everyday life. Like, you know, for me working in the shop, man, like it genuinely pays to be strong. My job is easier now than it was 5 years ago, for sure. You know, cars are heavy. Parts for cars
Hard too. They're hard.
Parts are, and even the small tasks. Like I spend a lot of time swinging a hammer and building these doors right now, and I spend a lot of time hand working the last little imperfections out of these skins, which is just a hammer and a chunk of steel. Neither of which are heavy, but at rep about 45,000, your traps are burning. And you know, it's like the tricep on this arm and the trap on this arm are on fire, and those kind of things they work better when you're stronger. And you know, like you said with Deanna, if she were to fall, or if she's sick and you need to move her, like being able to physically move somebody. You know, TJ in law enforcement, like moving people is literally your job.
Yeah.
So it's self-explanatory why it's so important for you. And like, you know, as a married man, like it's not super hard for my wife to make my jaw drop. I'm lucky. I've got a very, very pretty wife. But like ain't nothing good looking about us, man. Like, you know, I'm hairy and not real tall and I'm bald. It's like, but when I take my shirt off, she's like, okay.
I think
and that's, you know, that feels good. That's nice.
I think we should we should care about, you know, how we look to some degree, and we should care about, it's not about how we look. It's keeping yourself healthy and in a fitness level. We should want to look good for our spouse. What that means, I think it's skewed in culture, but we should want to be healthy. We should want to be in good shape. Like we should want to do those things because, I mean, scripture's clear, like our body's theirs and their body's ours. Like that's clear in scripture. Like we care about ourselves for them, and it's interchangeable from their standpoint too.
That was why I picked that verse from today. To present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Well, you know, lifting weights and getting stronger there is sacrifice there.
Yeah.
Like you're sacrificing time, you're sacrificing your comfort. You get a good lift in, like you're sacrificing for the next 3 days if you do it right.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's a I think that one's pretty good.
It is good.
Because we do want to present ourselves in the best way possible. Like, okay, God gave us this body. What are we doing to take care of it? Well, if you build muscle, what you eat affects your body differently too.
Yeah.
Like, the more muscle you have, the more calories you can intake and it not go to fat.
Yeah.
You know, it changes. And again, hey, bro science guys, this is just me repeating what other people have said and what I've seen evidence of in my own life. Like, you still don't want to eat trash, which you shouldn't be anyways. But the more muscle you have, you can consume more food because your metabolism is working differently now.
Yeah. The one thing, not to get on a tangent, but people, I think they're starting to learn that now. There's a lady that's a doctor, and I've seen her on I think it's, what's his name? Huberman. His podcast. Yeah. And they're learning now that a lot of our issues may not be the obesity, but the under-muscleness.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a big issue.
Gabrielle Lyon.
That's her. Yeah, that's her. But like TJ knows this firsthand. We're dudes. We want to eat. We want to eat good. Like, we want to eat stuff. Like, if you train hard, you'll be able to eat a lot more, you know? And I think there's something to that. Like, you should train hard and eat a lot.
Yeah.
We want to eat somewhat healthy, but, you know, we also don't want to, you know, baby it. You know, you need fuel. Don't baby it to the point that, like, it affects your workout. Yeah. Like, I think that's one thing I used to talk to TJ about. Like, when he was 17, 18, 19. Like, literally, like, try to eat healthy. Eat good quality foods. But when you're 18, 19, like, I told Connor this at the gym all the time. Like, if you're weight training and you're in the gym getting after it, you can just eat. And you should be eating. Because you don't want to limit your gains and the ability to progress by not eating enough. Like, you don't need to, like, because he was always like, well, I want to get fat. And Donnie was like, what are you even worried about? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, go in there, lift heavy, get strong, train well, and eat when you need to eat.
Well, you know, it's funny. Like, I've always been a skinny guy. Even when I was skinny fat, like, you know, from the outside, I was a skinny guy. And, like, I've been trying to put on weight for the last 5 years. And I can't tell you how many times I've had guys who were out of shape tell me, oh, you just wait.
I hate that.
And it's like, well,
my pet
okay,
peeves.
but you're not right because you could be in the same situation. Like, you're 60 pounds overweight. You weigh 80 pounds more than me and you have less muscle than me. Like, of course, everything you eat goes to your belly. It's got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, if you are weight training, like, you just said this, just trying to get to 175. Like, same here. It's so hard to put on weight. Like, when you're weight training, man, I'll eat and eat and eat, which is also, I want to talk about that too, because trying to eat enough to put on muscle when you have a house with lots of people in it.
Little gremlins that are eating all your peanut butter.
I listen to all these podcasts and follow these guys on YouTube. They're like, oh, you just, you know, meal prep this and you eat a pound of ground beef and a pound of white rice a day. And I'm like, okay, you're not meal prepping for 7 people. That's for sure. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Like, it is hard to eat enough to really put on weight. I'd love to be 200 pounds. Yeah. Like, I started saying I want to be 185. Now I'm saying I want to be 200. So we'll see what I say if I ever get to 185. Right. But, like, it's hard. It's really, really hard.
It is. I think there's a good segue for TJ. How do you get enough calories in, food in?
So, this is about to go down a little bit of a different rabbit hole.
Oh, good.
We like rabbit holes.
I don't know where to start. Well, one, this is a pet peeve of mine. Don't be afraid of carbs. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of carbs.
Carbs give you energy.
But another thing is, like, not everything has to be optimal. Like, you see all this stuff on Instagram and on YouTube of, like, do this position for the lat pull down and it hits your lat perfect. It doesn't have to be optimal. You're not a bodybuilder. You're not trying to be Mr. Olympia. And if you are,
don't listen to us.
Don't listen to
us.
Wrong podcast. And that was something that kind of took me a while to accept with being so young and, like, knowing that I have a genetic advantage of being young and just being able to do all these things and recover in 2 seconds and eat all these everything.
Go ahead and brag.
And it kind of hit a point of like with being in law enforcement and then training jujitsu, trying to find time and all of that. I'm not stepping on stage. Like I'm not. Yeah. So I'm doing things the way I like to do it and the most effective and efficient way for me. And how I'm going to connect that to the eating is after high school when I was in bodybuilder mode. Like I'm going to be the next Lee Priest. If anyone doesn't know who that is, he was like 5'4" and giant biceps. He was huge. He was like 220 of pure muscle. And I would get home from the gym and I would always make this like big pasta bowl and I'd be gagging, like trying to just put it down. And like that's the reality of putting on weight to that extent, of trying to be the bodybuilder, trying to step on stage. That's a real thing. But if you're just trying to be more healthy, put on some muscle, anything in a more realistic view, eat when you're hungry and have a little bit more than when you're full. Like you don't got to push yourself to when you gag, just have a little bit more. Whether like, this is a bad example, but I'll get a number one from McDonald's, right? And I'll get an extra Big Mac. I get the extra Big Mac because that's going to be the little bit of extra after I'm full. And that's how I put on the weight now. Am I the next Chris Bumstead? No. But I've hit that goal of 175. And now I'm going to go to 180. I might have a little bit of tummy, but that's when you cut back a little bit. It's all a adjustment and listening to your body, in my opinion. And that's kind of how I go about things now. Because when I try and be, when I get super into something and try and be perfect on everything, my mental state then goes down the drain. Like, oh, I'm constantly behind, like this, that, the third. And it takes a while. Rome was built in a day. So you slowly figure it out and figure out what works for you. That's my spiel.
Yeah, that's good though. I mean, that's really.
I'm going to say don't eat McDonald's.
Yeah,
if you're 25, go for it. Knock yourself out.
But I think like
I have celiac disease. There's no.
Yeah, you're definitely not doing McDonald's. Kyle's forced to eat fairly healthy just by genetics. But you're, I guess me too. Not me, but because of Deanna. Yeah, but it's like I think that simple concept of eating and like, okay, where you'd normally be like, I'm good. If you're trying to put on weight, have a little more. Don't eat to the point where you're like smack full, but like have a little bit more. You know, because you're not Thanksgiving eating every meal, but just having that little bit extra calories. And I think calorically dense foods too, stuff that's high calorie but doesn't fill you up is something that I think young people can capitalize on. Like, like peanut butter for me when I was weight training and trying to put on weight was big because it's high calorie, but it doesn't fill you up. You know, things like that. Use that to get your extra calories in. I mean, like back in the day, they used to drink whole milk, and that was the same concept of getting your calories in for not a lot of liquid.
I drink a lot of milk.
Yeah, and it's a good way to get extra calories in. You know, if you're milk's its whole another world. Milk's a lot of people have a problem with milk and things like that. But finding those type of high calorie type good foods, you could drink a Pepsi and that'd be high calorie too. But
do that.
But did you? But what's weird too is like it. Like I think it was Mayweather. He has like a ritual that he like trains and drinks a Pepsi. I think it was Mayweather, yeah. And somebody criticized on him, and he was like, "I come in and get my workout. See what we
Yeah, I mean, freak athletes can make exceptions. Like to what we've been doing, and we do eat pretty healthy in my house. Like none of us drink pop. And I'm from Ohio, so we say pop, not soda.
Yeah, I get made fun of saying Tad. I'm saying it on the show. He's saying pop. He's mad at me now.
Pop
See, that DJ's in the middle.
Pop was a little rough. I would take Tad over pop.
Oh, gosh. Anyways. We don't drink soda. We really don't eat any fast food. But again, I have celiac disease, so we don't really have the option. But again, I've got 5 kids. So for us to purchase and make enough food, and it's kind of selfish for me to I want more so that I can build muscle. But I want my kids to grow too. My wife's trying to get strong too. We spend a good portion of our Sundays doing meal prep.
Yeah.
Most Sundays. It doesn't work out perfectly. The reality is life happens. But things like chicken pot pie and roasts and pork butts and maybe that's not it. Anyways, stuff that we can cut up and get ready and just put in the crock pot. Like the crock pot is our best friend.
Oh yeah.
Where you can cook a lot of food relatively inexpensive because meat is your friend. If you want a lot of protein, meat's the way to go. Like it's the high source of protein. It's as healthy as you can get. But it's also ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. So
we'll buy the cheapest meat that we can get our hands on. A lot of pork. We eat a lot of pork because it's cheap-ish. We've been doing a lot of like spaghetti with meat sauce. Or we'll do ground turkey. I do not care for ground turkey at all. It has no flavor.
It is pretty flavorless.
It's completely flavorless. But you put it in sauce
and it's good.
And put it on spaghetti and it's not so bad. Gluten-free noodles, of course.
Which has come a long way.
Yeah. Eat a lot of yogurt for breakfast. Yogurt with blueberries. Blueberries are great. I've been drinking a lot of kefir.
Yeah, it's like milk. Like when I talk about the calories through milk, same type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I drink a lot of milk, but the kefir gives you electrolytes and some other probiotics.
Yeah.
Be careful if you drink too much of it and kind of make you messed up just a little bit. And like my unhealthy thing is I've been drinking mass gainer shakes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good sustainable long-term thing, but when it's so hard to get, 3,500, 4,000 calories a day, that's an easy way to stack on some calories.
Yeah, it is.
And I was listening to those guys the other day on their podcast talking about if you're towards the end of the day and you're low on your calories, those liquid calories, that's where it's at. Like make yourself a nice dense protein shake with I've been making my protein shakes or my mass shakes with milk instead of water. That way you get the calories and the protein from the milk and the stuff from the powder. Eggnog. And that seems to be pretty good. Eggnog. Ugh.
You don't like eggnog?
No, gross.
You like eggnog?
I do.
I like eggnog.
I do.
Gross.
But stuff like that.
My kids like eggnog.
Really?
Yeah.
And I drop them a care package of eggnog because it never gets in the house. Shuts it down.
No, they can have it. They can drink it. The faces they make when I pull the kefir out of the fridge are hilarious. But they like kombucha, and I think kombucha is gross.
Me too. Kefir not bad. Kombucha is weird for me. Yeah. I never drink kombucha. We can't drink kombucha, TJ. Might pop positive on.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you get a DUI drinking kombucha. That's like because it does have alcohol, not like a lot, but not to the point where it's like alcoholic, like a beer would be. But
I was gonna say, how much kombucha do you have to drink to get drunk?
Probably you'd have other issues.
I was gonna say, I feel like
we've had people that like that's their excuse. Not TJ, but like I know we have like same thing with like the drug tests that we give in the court systems. People say like all types of crazy stuff. Oh, I was drinking kombucha.
I feel like that dude stumbles out of his car. You can tell pretty quick. Like you don't look like a kombucha drinker to me, homie. I don't think so.
But yeah, I think one thing I want to hit before we close up too is like we train to support the rest of our life, whether that be family, whether that be our jobs, our jobs and family don't support fitness, train with a purpose, like purpose-built fitness. We're training for a reason. And I think that's important. Like TJ's saying, don't get so consumed with it to where fitness becomes the reason that we live. We're training to support the rest of our life. Like it's a tool that we use to build our bodies, to treat our bodies as we should, and be God honoring, and to be able to serve to a better capacity. Like we're in law enforcement, so it's direct. You're not in law enforcement, but it's still direct. Like you're able to do more productive work. The more, like you explained,
I had to pick my horizontal bandsaw took a crap on me. I put it in the Connex box the other day. I think it weighs like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Like there's only one way to get in there. I was by myself. Like I had to lift it up. So not all at once.
How for you, TJ, like in law enforcement, want to hit that, before we finish, is like you've probably seen direct correlation to like how much your fitness level has affected you able to perform in some way.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, in every way. And I don't even know which way I want to go with this, but that's a hard one because there's so many different avenues, right? So there's weightlifting, there's the cardio part of it, there's the meal prep, and then you even have all the people that you work with, because we all know the stereotype that cops like to eat donuts and all of that.
They don't.
I'm not big on sweets, but I guess I'll be.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude.
I
am.
But
I love me a Reese's cup.
I would say it's one of the bigger aspects in what I do, solely because like I don't, and this isn't calling any law enforcement either agency or personnel out, but it doesn't make sense in my brain how somebody cannot work out and then do the profession. Like, man, how is that not kind of scary in a way while you're driving around? Whether it's you having to go hands-on with somebody or get somebody out of the car. Like, well, about 3 weeks ago, me and my partner went to a rollover wreck, and I think the kid in the car was like 17. And he was stuck, and we ended up having to break the window, and we had to drag him out. And he was, if I had to guess, around like 220. And on top of that, you're in an awkward position because the car's on the ceiling, and you don't even have the force of your legs. It's all shoulders, upper body, trying to yank him out and not drag him through the glass. So it's a weird thing for me to think about because I go down a rabbit hole. Because, like, if, let's say we have a jump and run, now you're taking the weightlifting part of it out and you're adding in cardiovascular. By the time you catch the guy or he trips or whatever the case, if you're gassed and he still has more life in him than you, bud, you got to scramble, you got to fight, you got to do something, or else you could possibly be dead. Yeah. So like it's a whole rabbit hole for me personally.
No, that's why I asked you that, because like you've had firsthand experience of like the car example was the best example. Like you said, don't call anybody out, but like if you're not training, like you're not honoring your responsibility as a public servant in some degree, because you're out like it's in my opinion, it's necessity. Like you can't not do it. And I see people that are, and that's not to say that like you have to be like TJ. Every person has to be the level that TJ's at. But you to see someone that's like out of shape, that's heavy, you know, you're not being responsible. Like you're not. You know, it's just like you talked about earlier. Like you got these guys that shoot once a year. It's the same thing. You know, and I get shooting can be expensive, but.
Yeah, but if it's your profession.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's probably a departmental thing. Maybe we should spend some more money on training. But you really are. Like, you someone's life could be quite literally in your hands, and your fitness level could cause someone to die. I mean, it sounds weird to say it like that, but, like, you could be in that situation.
Well, and, okay, so for me, I'm as far on the outside of law enforcement as you can get. Like, I've got buddies that are cops, but that's it. For me, if I'm getting arrested, which I've never been arrested, believe it or not, I've never been arrested, but, you know, I'm going to react. I'm a pretty respectful guy. I respect what you guys do.
Yeah. But
if I'm having a really bad day and I decide that day I want to be that guy, and the dude gets out of the cop car and he looks like he goes home and drinks a six-pack every night, and he's never been under a barbell, I am not going to give that guy any respect at all. Like, I know, for one, I can probably run circles around you, and if, God forbid, we end up with hands on each other, I'm winning that fight. I know it. Yeah. There's no question about it. And I've had this conversation with cops, you know, that I've tried to convince to come train. Yeah. I was like, I want you guys to be safe. If you guys are safe, then the people that you're dealing with are more safe. Like, we've had that talk before. Yeah. Like, the more capable you are, the safer they are when you go hands-on. And I'll go, you know, why don't you, you know, come train, get stronger, get healthy? And they're like, well, that's why I've got a taser and a gun. Yeah. And I have literally I've had cops tell me jokingly because we're friends, but I've also had cops tell me seriously, like, oh, well, you know, if I encounter you on the street and I'm just going to tase you. Yeah. Like, I know who you are. I know you're trained. I'm just going to tase you. I'm not even going to try. Like, so that's the cop out. That's why you don't want to be healthy, strong, in shape, is because you've got a taser on your hip. Bro. Like, and I've been tased before. It sucks.
It does.
But you better hope you stick me with that thing right the first time, because if not, I'm gonna make your day suck real bad.
Yeah.
It just, it frustrates me. It makes me angry because like I care about you guys. Like you guys especially. Like, you're my friends. Other TJ, darker complected TJ. I care about him. And he's another cop that's in shape. He's strong. He trains, and it makes him a better cop. And the people that he has to deal with on the street that are not having their best day, it makes them safer too.
Yeah.
It drives me. If you're going to go into a profession where you're very, very likely to end up in a physical altercation, I feel like it is so irresponsible to not train your body for that. Yeah. It doesn't make it. And again, I'm not a cop, so I can say this with, if I piss off some cops, I don't really care. You guys are safer, and the people that you're dealing with are safer when you're stronger.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
And for us guys that are not cops, my job, I've talked about this in earlier podcasts, and I'm sure I'll continue to talk about it again. Like, my job is the protector of my family. What's the absolute best way that I can protect my family when we're out and about is look like the guy that you're probably not going to be successful at messing with.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, like, my first line of defense, ideally, is just looking like the guy that maybe not that guy.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't mess with that family because that guy looks like he's probably going to hurt me.
Yeah.
And then next in line to that is like yeah, that's true.
Backing it up.
If we put hands on each other, more than likely, like, I'm going to end up on top.
Yeah. And like working in the jail, like that is quite literally, I mean, a lot of those guys are very egotistical, but that is quite literally part of it. Like they might not fight someone that's in good shape, but in the same way, many of them are egotistical. There's some reality there. Like, I'm not going to, if I seen TJ walking and I was going to try to fight someone or rob someone, I'm probably going to go to the next guy.
Well, yeah.
And get the guy that's a little less
self-preservation.
In shape.
Maybe not.
So there is something there, but one thing I used to tell TJ, like when he was getting into law enforcement, was like, you're going to have these, and this isn't, I hope this motivates people in law enforcement to not want to be that way, but you want to be the person or the officer or whatever that when you show up as backup, like there's a sense of relief.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm scrapping with somebody and TJ shows up. I'm like, oh, thank God, quite literally.
Don't be the cop that when you show up, they go, please stay over there.
Yeah. Like, and I'm sure you have had that happen and had, that experience. And
have you guys seen the video? I think it's a short of this cop. He's arresting this guy. The kid's talking all kinds of crap, and dude gets out of his cop car, and he's just like jacked. And the guy's like, and he puts the cuffs on himself. He's like, I'm ready to go now. I'm like, there you go. I mean, I know that's a joke, but I mean, there is some truth there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like other TJ.
Yeah, he's pretty.
He's a big boy, and he's freaking jacked.
Yeah.
Like when he steps on scene, chances are you're gonna go.
Probably not gonna.
I think I'll just comply with it.
I'm not gonna give that one a try.
Same with you, like other than being short.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
get
right.
you platform boots, but like when the cop shows up and it's like, okay, I'm if the goal is for me to end up in handcuffs, I'm probably going to end up in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I try and do. So maybe I'll just get in the back of the car, not bleeding.
Mm. And I think it speaks to, too, like I was saying, like, we train for a reason. We don't just train to train. If that's your job, that's your job. You train because it's your profession. But most of us, that's not the case. Like, we're training to support life. So whether you're in law enforcement, train accordingly. Like TJ said, like, your cardio is important. Like, if you're a street cop, like, you might have to chase someone. So train that way. Like TJ's been doing his kettlebell ladders, like to build his cardiovascular system. We should be training in a way that supports our other aspects of life. Like, don't just blindly train for for something that's not applicable to you.
Yeah.
And just like one more little tangent, because I feel like I have to say this for some reason. Like they've done and I used to hate hearing this example, but they've done studies on the whole command presence when you get on scene, like how you appear, how you look, even if you're not in the in the best shape if your uniform is pressed and fitted and you just look professional. But to kind of add on to that, you're in a profession where you're so behind the curve already. Like, another thing to preach is action is faster than reaction. Like, if I'm on a traffic stop and I'm walking up to the window and this guy already has it set in his mind that he's going to shoot at me or try and fight me, I'm already behind the curve. I am already behind the curve because he already knows what he's going to do, where I then have to react. So why am I going to put myself even further behind the curve by not being ready or prepared? Whether that's cardio, muscular, going to the shooting range, practicing with my taser, like whatever handcuff techniques, whatever it is. And like, that's such a pet peeve to me, because let's say if I'm not ready for any of that, not only am I endangering myself and the person that I'm dealing with, I'm also putting my partner in danger. And like, cops preach all day that, like, you know, blue lives and like all of this stuff, and like, my partner is my best friend, and you hear a shooting in another county and it's sad. Okay, if that's the case, then put that into your head when you're sitting on the couch and drinking some soda for 8 hours a day with some potato chips.
You mean pop?
Yes, with some pop. Like, not only are you putting yourself and somebody else in danger, you're literally putting your partner, the person that you spend 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever your shift work is, you're putting them in danger. And they have a family too. Like, I can go down a rabbit hole all day with that, but I'll end it with that one.
Yeah, and that's, time. Well, most guys will say, I don't have time to train. Whatever it is, whether it's jiu-jitsu or it's weights or whatever, I don't have time to train. Are you playing video games?
Yeah.
Are you drinking beer? Are you, what are you doing in your not required time?
Yeah.
Like, if you say, hey, I've got a bunch of kids, I've got a wife, okay, roger that. Like, I understand. That does make it hard. I know. I have 5 kids. I have a business. I have a wife that I want to spend time with. I'd be like, if I can make time to do it, you can probably make some time to do it.
Yeah.
And if you can't, again, what are you spending your time on?
Yes.
Like, the video game, I want to talk about video games one of these days, because I'm real irritated on that topic at the moment. But,
TJ,
if you're playing video games 2 hours a day and you're drinking a bunch of beer and you eat like crap and you're completely out of shape, then don't tell me you don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
Be honest, say you don't want to do it. But also maybe consider what profession you're in, and like, law enforcement is probably not for you. If that's the lifestyle that you want, then I think that's, that's probably not where you should be.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite literally responsible you could be quite literally responsible for somebody's life.
Yeah. And I think we all, like, I'm not a cop. I am responsible for 6 lives other than my own, the ones that are in my house. Like, I have to present the best of myself for them.
Yeah, and I think, like, all the different examples TJ gave, while they are not directly correlated to, everyone, they are in that sense. Because they are in that, like, if you have a family, if you have people you love and care about, like, it's our duty to be able to protect them in the best way we can. And that is directly correlated to being in good shape and keeping your fitness at a high level and getting stronger and getting bigger. And jiu-jitsu is probably maybe even more important than that. But
yeah, it's all important. And it's enjoyable. Like,
lifting
weights, it sucks. It's a
fun.
grind, but it's also fun. And it's something to chat with your buddies about. And if you work in a blue collar job and you're around a bunch of other guys, what's the percentage of guys that can bench 225? It's pretty low.
Yeah,
like, you get there, you get bragging rights around your buddies, and that's cool. So I think everybody should get under the bar. Everybody should push some weights, get a little stronger, build a little muscle, burn a little fat.
Yeah.
Make your wife ooh and ah when you take your shirt off.
That was a good, simple way to sum it up there. That was good.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff.
I think we went over a little bit, but I think we had to. So.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
You good?
This has been Iron and Grace.
Later.
Out.
Later.